Maria, she was the second child of the family and the only daughter. It was very precious because for us, we come into England with a baby and happened to be that she grew up here in England.
She really loved to spend time with people. We met Nick for the first time after the accident. But I knew about Nick because Maria used to tell me about Nick. And the nice things, obviously, how he thought and how he did things. And they finished the meal and they were going home. And for some reason, I remember Nick recalling that they just decided to go for a drive. And I think in his desire to impress her, he just drove a bit too fast. And he lost control of the car. And that is when the accident happened.
The accident happened about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. She was taken to the hospital, and by 5 in the morning, she was already dead. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning when the police arrived. The police released the news to us that it had been an accident on one car in the A3, and Maria didn't survive to the injuries, and she was dead.
And then them two came to me with the worst news any parent could have. I mean, you don't expect those kind of news, particularly early in the morning. And that is when we first encounter our tragedy.
And immediately there were 100 questions coming to my mind. What shall I do? What shall I go to see her? Where is Elizabeth? How is George? What happened to her? Was no anyone able to help with her body in order for her not to die totally? We didn't know the details. Obviously, at that moment in time, what you think is how this overwhelming feeling of losing somebody that is your only daughter, that is the love of your life, that is my little girl, that is the princess of the family, being lost in a moment without any understanding. He came to meet me, and he came in a humble way, because he came into the flat where I was with Elizabeth and the family. He did ask to meet us, and he wanted to talk to us. And he came and he hugged me and he said, "Forgive me." But I remember very vividly the way that he approached me in a humble way. "Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me." He was in tears, obviously. So was I at that moment. Thought in my own mind, I can forgive you, but where is Maria? But at that moment, I was dealing with the issue for 3 days of how to approach this young man that I haven't met before, to be honest, that I was responsible for Maria's death, that I wanted him to die, Maria to be alive. So at that moment, I remember having the decision of having the clarity in my mind and the spirit that you should forgive your enemies. And I said to the young man when he was actually hanging to me, and he was crying, he said to him, "I forgive you, son. I do forgive you." And that was a moment very special for me because it was to let it go. I released the forgiveness and immediately it came to me a sense of peace, a sense of complete tolerance and understanding. It's like the Spirit took me over, the Spirit of God or the presence of God, whatever you want to call it. But I knew something has changed. And I was going to forgive the young man, but I was also going to accept the situation that Maria was passed away. And at the end of the day, that God was in charge of the situation. He is the one who gives life and to take it away. My 30 years of being a pastor and preaching always that you should love and forgive your neighbors and also your enemies. But when the situation actually cracked to you and you are in front of your own enemy and you are in front of those people who really hurt you, who really damaged you, people who actually don't do no come alongside for any good to you, that's the moment when that word of forgiveness got a great value. I did it in the sense of knowing that because God have forgiven me, And I knew where I come from. I knew who was I. So God had forgiven me, and I got the right to forgive this young man. One of the sentences that is very well known in Nick's life and also in Nick's family is, he never experienced love until he actually came in contact with us. When I met you guys, when I saw you taking care of me, when you called me to live with you, and you were serving me and helping me before the trial and in prison, that's when I experienced the real love of God. And that was something that has impacted Nick's family and also us. God is love, because the love of God, we have forgiven him. And immediately he started to love God and to respect him and to find that side of God's love in a practical way.
Nick was sentenced death by dangerous driving was the outcome, and he was given 5 years in prison, from which he served just under 2 years.
We were visiting Nick for almost 2 years. We were traveling every week, every Saturday or any other day that was possible, just to make sure that the young man was okay.
Some people forgive, but it's like forgive and forget, and that's it. And I didn't want my story to be like that. I wanted and I still want my story to be a story of love, a story of restoration, a story of forgiveness, a story where I was able to love in full and to make sure that it had a happy ending. So forgiveness is really the answer. Forgiveness is the antidote to so many things. God forgave us, and because he loved, he gave his only son to save us from doom and gloom. That is why we forgive.
If there is anything that has resonated with you in this video, we believe that Jesus can make all the difference. Don't hesitate to respond. We would love to chat with you.